Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Back with the tips once again. As always, we'll quickly go through my last round's tips. Got 5 out of 9, started off pretty well, then went for an upset in Adelaide. That was my first one wrong. Melbourne, were they robbed by the Arc? Hard to say really. Yeah, the Sunday games I didn't go too well on. I only got the 1 out of the 3 Sunday games. And yeah, that left me with a total of 5 out of 9. Another pretty ordinary round of tipping. I've been in a bit of a rut lately. I had 5 the round before, I believe, and yeah, only 3 the week before that. So yeah, I'm not going the best right now. So let's hope I can have a better last 2 rounds of the season. Kicking things off on the Friday night, we have Collingwood taking on Brisbane at Marvel Stadium. Last time these two teams played at Marvel Stadium, it came down to a kick after the siren back in 2021. Back then, Collingwood were a bit doo-doo. They're a lot less doo-doo now. Brisbane are still pretty good. So this will be a fascinating matchup. I saw a stat that showed Brisbane have won 8 of their last 10 at Marvel Stadium, so they like going to Marvel Stadium. Seems to be the only ground other than the Gabba that they actually like going to, but we move on. So yeah, this will be a tough one to tip. I don't think Brisbane were all that impressive last week against Adelaide. Adelaide had a very undermanned back line. They had to claw their way back into that game early because Adelaide got the jump start. So I reckon Collingwood probably will win this one. In fact, I think they'll probably win it fairly comfortably. I'm going to go Collingwood by 27 points. Richmond and North Melbourne now. Last time these two teams faced off last year, it was a shock upset win to North Melbourne. Could it happen again? I think it's certainly possible because Richmond have they've fallen off a bit. They're out of the finals race now. North Melbourne, their last few matches have been far more competitive. I just can't see them. I'll tip this to be a fairly close game. I'm gonna go Richmond by 16 points. I think North Melbourne will put up a fight, but I think they're going to lose their 20th match in a row, which I'm sure is something they'd really like to avoid. Gold Coast taking on Carlton now, where you can't go past Carlton in this form. Yeah, I think even up on the Gold Coast at Carrara, Heritage Bank Stadium, whatever you want to call it, I think that they'll just be too good. I reckon they'll comfortably win this one by 42 points. Yeah, Gold Coast slipping away in this season, as they seem to normally do in the back end of seasons. They always start off really well and competitive, but then they just end up, really slipping away and becoming quite uncompetitive towards the end of seasons. GWS taking on Essendon now. This will be a big matchup. It's got big ramifications for finals. Whoever loses this is out of the finals race. It's fair to say. I think mathematically as well, they'd probably be out of it. So yeah, this game. Oh, this is I reckon GWS win this one. They got smashed last round by Port and they lost to Sydney, but I still think they're going better than what Essendon are at the moment. Essendon, their last 2 wins against North Melbourne and West Coast, who are by far and away the worst teams in the competition, they only just snatched the win against West Coast in the final couple of minutes, and against North Melbourne they trailed a lot of the game and they only just clawed their way to a 9-point win in the end. So yeah, they're really not going too well, and even before that they lost a couple of games they'd rather not lose. And so yeah, I think that GWS should win this one. I'm gonna tip them. I'm gonna tip them by 36 points. St Kilda taking on Geelong now at Docklands Stadium, or Marvel Stadium, I should say, formerly known as the Docklands, and still is known as the Docklands by some people. But yeah, I think that this is a hard one to tip. Neither team's really in very good form. St Kilda still in the top 8. Yeah, I reckon Geelong get it done here. Even though it's at Marvel, I just think that they should win this one. I think they're a better team on paper, and they're pretty evenly matched on form, to be honest. But yeah, I reckon they should get the job done here, Geelong. Another massive game with massive ramifications on finals footy. I will be going to this game, Adelaide versus Sydney. It'll be a cracking Saturday night match. If Adelaide lose this, they are most certainly out of the finals race. If they win it, there's still a tiny glimmer considering that they play West Coast next week. So yeah, this is really a do-or-die game for Adelaide and Sydney. Well, we need to win this game because, equally importantly, because we have Melbourne next week, and if we lose these next 2 games, then we are still a risk of missing finals. It's not job done yet. I'm going to be tipping us. I reckon it'll be a thriller. I hope it's a thriller, but I also don't hope it's a thriller. If it's a thriller that we win, it's good. If it's a thriller that we lose, I'm going to be sad. So yeah, I can't wait for this match. First Sydney game I've gone to this year. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to the gather round match. Yeah, I'm actually yet to see Sydney win live. I've gone to 3 matches. I went to Sydney Adelaide 2016, Sydney Port Adelaide 2019, and Sydney Port Adelaide last year. So I'm 0-3. I really hope it doesn't become 0-4. But yeah, excited for this one. And go Swans. Alright, well, fairly simple result this one, I would have thought. The Bulldogs, they're flat track bullies, but they're playing West Coast, and if there's any team that they're going to absolutely destroy, it's West Coast, because they are the worst team in the competition. Could be, honestly, another 100-point loss for West Coast here, because away from home this year, they've played absolutely awfully. And they just got smashed in their rivalry game against Fremantle by 101 points. So yeah, I think this should be a pretty damn comfortable win for the Bulldogs. I'm going to tip them to win it by 87 points. Melbourne taking on Hawthorn now. Yeah, Hawthorn have been playing really well lately. You'd think, looking at the 2 ladder positions, this would be a simple one to tip, but it's really not. I'm going to back in Melbourne here, but yeah, Hawthorn could easily cause an upset here. They beat Collingwood and the Bulldogs in the last 2 weeks, and they seem to just always show up against the top teams in the competition for some reason. Yeah, so I think this will be an exciting matchup, and I think it'll be reasonably close, but Melbourne should get the job done. Final game of the round now, Melbourne taking on Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide, I reckon that last win should propel them back into some form. It'll be a good time to get back into some form. Freo obviously coming off a massive win over the Eagles, but it is just the Eagles at the end of the day. Yeah, I think that Port Adelaide get the job done here by 23 points. And with that, the ladder looks like this. So Collingwood still 2 games clear on top of the ladder. Port Adelaide up into second, 2 games behind Collingwood. You wouldn't think they'd catch them now. Melbourne and Brisbane in the top 4, still battling it out for that top 2 position. Carlton up to 5th, Sydney in 6th, Bulldogs and St Kilda round out the top 8. GWS just outside on percentage of the top 8. Geelong in 10th, Essendon, Richmond, Adelaide, Fremantle and Gold Coast in that next clump of teams. Hawthorn 16th position, 5 games ahead of the bottom 2. And West Coast back down below a percentage of 50, which is, quite dreadful really. So anyway guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. Leave your tips down in the comments below. If you did like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.